Hello, everyone. Welcome to my first podcast episode. This episode will be a bit short because it's my first ever one, and I want to introduce myself, this podcast, and what my goals are for this podcast. I'm excited to start a fun and exciting podcast journey with y'all, and hopefully, we can create an exciting space and tech community where we all talking about some big stuff that are happening in the community as well as sharing ideas and whatnot. So usually in podcast episodes, I'll just be talking about space and technology, some advice, my thoughts about it, and I also want to even know some of your thoughts, like some other people's thoughts. That way, not will just be beneficial to me, but it'll also be beneficial to you and our community that we'll be creating, and hopefully the entire world. But obviously, this is my first one, uh, so we're not going too far. So, in the beginning of this podcast, I'll be giving a lot of information about what this podcast is and also myself before we start diving into the original content I planned for this podcast. So, first, I want to talk about myself. I am a high school junior in the Bay Area, and I'm really passionate about coding and space, specifically both of them combined, right? And I didn't do like a lot of fun projects as well as just see on the news what's going on. Like I think you guys know that India has landed Chandrayaan 3, um, which is they're like the fourth country to land a spacecraft on the moon and the first one to land on the south pole of the moon. So pretty fascinating stuff here. Obviously, it is an exciting world, and the fun thing about space, in my opinion, just like there's so much to know because the universe is basically infinitely huge. So there'll be like there'll never be an ultimate end to learning the knowledge of the entire universe. There'll always be more things you'll learn. Maybe there's some theories and there's some ideas that will be uh, overridden by new ones because we still don't know much about this world, right? So or this universe. So that's just about myself. Now I want to talk about what this podcast or this entire podcast will be like. Um, Basically, I was thinking about dividing each podcast into 3 segments. The first segment is about the latest news on tech and space and software and all of that. So I'll just be talking about, again, just like the latest news. Maybe we can have like a guest speaker on here just to like kind of discuss that, some opinions, and maybe you want to know your opinions too. So in this first segment, I'll just be talking about all of that. Um, Usually like probably like the first few episodes will be pretty general, and then maybe like if there's like some big major specific like news, then I'll be probably talking about that, my opinion about it, and just have a little fun discussion, right? um, so that's like the first segment, and the second segment will be about a little guest interview. Now it's supposed to be a guest speaker interview, but interview as in like they'll anyways be here in the episode, but in the second segment I'll just be talking to them directly. So usually we'll just be talking to them, and I'll be talking to them about like what got them started in doing coding or space or getting into space or anything of that sort, right? And because I obviously do not have a guest speaker in this first episode, I'll just be talking to myself, not to myself, but about myself. I'll just be talking about me. And the third segment is a segment called STEM advice. So this is just like this is not just based in tech, but it's just like general STEM. If you are interested, if you're like going to high school soon or already in high school and you want to like know what you want to do or what you're passionate about, and you know that you're interested in STEM, but you do not know like which exactly you're interested on. I really hope I can kind of like help you get over that. So hopefully like you'll have a really good picture, and it's okay to not have one right now, right? Usually some people will stick to it since the beginning of their life, or maybe it's like the end of their high school, right, or even the end of their college, and it also changes too. So hope I can kind of like help you with that. I know I'm still a young guy, but you know, not just you guys, but even me myself. I think I'll learn along the way about just like getting to know some really nice advice, and maybe if we kind of create that community I was talking about earlier, we can kind of share these ideas, and I think it'll be like really nice for all of us to like, grow together as individuals. So, um, yeah, all right, that's it. Without further ado, we should start the actual podcast. So let's talk about the latest news on tech and software. Today, I mean, I didn't have a lot of space part planned out, so I'll just be talking about some technology that basically has been on the rise very recently. Very recently means like last year. It's about a year ago, which is, well, AI. AI is incredibly huge, and it's been talked about around the world, right? And obviously because of the new release of the Chat GPT, AI has been an incredibly popular topic around the world just because of that. I mean, AI has been around for quite a long time, and it was not just made yet last year. It has been there for quite a while. I mean, you can even talk about Alexa. There was even like the first AI all the way back in like late 1990s. I think the postal service was using an AI to like detect words and all that. So that's like pretty cool, and I think AI is definitely a great technology that people have invented and people have discovered, and obviously with that there's some side effects, which is that, oh, will robots take over the world? AI is, people are really making AI really smart. I mean, I've seen a lot of news articles about how people are trying to make AI really more like humans, not just physically, but also like mentally. Like they're trying to make robots sympathize with humans, or maybe like feel like of different senses, like feel a sense of guilt, feel a sense of happiness, like it just like really developing that emotion. And it's incredibly hard because, I mean, like our body systems are pretty incredibly complex, right? I mean, that's why like no one understands the digestive system at first glance. We just know the organs, but we don't know exactly what's going on. um, so it's just like the same thing with AI. That's how incredibly hard it is to like develop. As people are really working on it, and they really want to make advanced AI. And while it's like, oh yeah, it's pretty great, we're making robots part of our lives, but do we really want that? Do we really want AI to take over our lives? I mean, maybe there might be some time where you're trying to shut off the robot and it just does not work, and then, you know, it just goes down from there. So yeah, let's just talk about it. Obviously, ChatGPT, one of the biggest popular AI technology softwares that a lot of people are using these days. Even I'm using it too. I hope probably you're using too, and now a lot of people are talking about how it could probably take away jobs, right? Especially like writers, painters, coders, even like students, because I mean some teachers were just joking about it, and they were like, "Hey, what if that AI were in my classroom instead of students? They wouldn't misbehave and they would listen to my instructions. That's so cool." But again, that's really a joke. It's mainly like writers and painters, coders, because I think especially like for the writing part, that ChatGPT was able to automatically generate a bunch of essays, some really good essays with a lot of good vocabulary. Obviously, it's not as perfect. There was a little test where a um, they were trying to use ChatGPT, and they were trying to see if ChatGPT could pass the AP Literature course, and it didn't, unfortunately. But I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that's probably how it's supposed to be. And this was like back in, I think it was like either early this year or like back in 2022 still. But yeah, it's like the development stage of ChatGPT. It won't be really great, but ChatGPT, they're improving and they're making it like very good. So currently, obviously, there's still some poets out there. There's some painters out there. There's some coders, but over time, because AI is rapidly growing. It is a rapidly growing industry. It might just take out all of these professions in like 5 years, right? Even painters, there are AI art. There's AI art that is going all around. If you heard of Dali Mini or Mid Journey AI, these um, these technology softwares, they're creating really nice art. I think Dali Mini is not like the best art, um, but even Mid Journey is very very good. It's like rich in quality. If you obviously ask for like a 1080 pixel HD art, it will create that. Obviously, this still has some limits, like it can't create have words on the can create like correct words. Like let's say if you ask it to like generate a picture of a stop sign, it won't really say the word stop. It will probably have something else on it, some gibberish. So it's not really good with that. But other than that, it's pretty good. At like at least generating the art itself and the coding part. This is really interesting. This was even also back in 2022 where Microsoft admitted that they use ChatGPT to code their drones. So it looks like ChatGPT is a very reliable um, software for coding. And now, it's like, hey, now all these coders are just going to use ChatGPT if they need help or need help on making anything. And if ChatGPT is very good at that, it literally looks like it's just going to take over all the coding jobs because there's no point of it. I think like ChatGPT probably won't take over the job of testing it because, I mean, humans are going to test it, right? They're like the actual users. But yeah, again, everyone is really scared about that. Since AI is a growing industry, ChatGPT is a growing software. It literally might knock out jobs just in like 5 years. So it's scary, but and now people are thinking AI doomsday soon. AI in 10 years, how will that be like? Um, I think it will be more influential. I would say. I know ChatGPT is gonna be like a bit scary in terms of like jobs and all that. But I don't think it's like the end of the world. Like, oh, that's it. We don't have any more jobs. We can't have more money. The robots are gonna take over the world, and we are absolutely doomed. I don't think it's like that because humans, like not just humans, but also just like life in Earth. Life in Earth always finds a way to adapt, and I think even us humans always find a way to adapt, right? Because um, we always will find like because there's obviously like there's still some so if we talk about, let's go to New York City, right? There are a bunch of cars, a bunch of taxis and Ubers and whatnot. It's like, yeah, cars are just changing our lives, and there's no need of like rickshaws or auto rickshaws, or not auto rickshaws but rickshaws, or like you know um people who drive horse or ride horses and whatnot. But hey, it's still there. I mean, there's like some guys that are making money who are using having like a little tourist cycle. Again, that's not powered by a motor, so it's like, hey, it's not like taking out jobs. At least it's maybe like most of them, but humans will always find a way to adapt. That's the main point. Humans will always find a way to adapt. So you know, like at least if AI takes over like a bunch of jobs, maybe we'll find something there's obviously something that's gonna be out there, right? I mean, maybe like sports, right? Because I think if you would see like AI robots swimming or playing basketball, I don't think that would be a very exciting. It'll be very exciting, right? It won't be fun games to watch because it just like it just feels a bit awkward, right? I think you would understand that too. So um, I believe the the human race will be able to adapt to that. But they got to do it quickly, right? So because otherwise it's not gonna be good for the entire world. um, so yeah, I mean, um, I think that AI will still be influential in the future. I mean, ChatGPT will probably not be the only one or only AI software that'll be used. There'll be more AI models like Bard, right? Obviously from Google. Google is creating Bard. It's not really super proficient right now. It's way behind ChatGPT. It might catch up. Um, we probably think that Apple will, invent some AI. I mean, they have Siri, but like they can go more than that for sure. So yeah, I mean, um, there'll be a number more AI models, more powerful ones for sure. Um, it's gonna be like one of those things where there's gonna be, probably in 5 years, there's gonna be an introduction of a really really powerful AI model that's gonna be used by everyone. You know how it's like when Internet Explorer was there and Google Chrome and Firefox just took over, right? It's gonna be like the same thing. But anyways, I think yeah, it'll be definitely be more influential. It has its limits, but um, humans will find a way, to like take care of themselves, take care of the AI, and just have like a solid future. Because hey, like we still want to have like fun days, right? We still want to have fun days. We want it to be like a normal life without like robots around us because it just feels a bit weird, right? But then again, everyone is just imagining that yeah, this is gonna be a future. I admit it. Hopefully it doesn't like turn out to be like that. But we'll see. All right. The second segment is, as I said, a guest speaker interview. But since I do not have a guest, I'll just I'll just talk. I'll just be talking about, um, myself and my interests. So, as you know, I do love to do coding. And one of the aspects of coding that I like to spend my time on, like especially work on some projects over the summer and all of that, is development. So development, obviously, if you don't know, it's just like creating apps, right? The apps you see on the App Store or Google Play Store, whatnot, right? Um, so I just wanted to talk about how I got into that app, the app development part. And maybe this will also lead into the third segment, which is some advice. But maybe you can get an idea of it, like how I got started with this. So this is like kind of like the second segment. It's not just about like what are my interests or what are the guest speakers' interests. It's also like how did I get started? Because this could give you an idea too if you're stuck in a situation where you just like, man, I'm trying to figure something out, but I just do not know what. I don't like, maybe it's STEM. I love STEM. I just like, what part of STEM do I like? The math part, the engineering part, the science part? Do I like biology? Like, that's obviously came in issue. And it's fine because it's never too late to do anything. Never too early to do anything too. So yeah. Um so yes, I did say that I am into app development. So I want to talk about how I got started with that. So I used to do back in like maybe fifth grade. Yes, fifth grade I started to do like website development, and I didn't spend too much time on it. But whenever I had the time, I would like create like a fun website, maybe like a personal website, maybe some fun game on like HTML and CSS and JavaScript. And those are like three primary languages for web dev. Um, so I did all of that, and that was nice. But then when I entered my freshman year, it was almost at the end of my freshman year. I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to see if like I could take a step further. Like website dev, that's really great, but like maybe I can do something else. Maybe I can take a step further. And then I started to look into app development because it's like, that's like another development thing that I could do. Maybe I'd like take a look at it. Maybe see if I'm really interested in it. So I did. I started to explore. I watched like a bunch of YouTube videos that were just, talking about app development. It's like, oh, okay, it's like really good, really good, thing to do. It's fun. You can create apps and all of that, right? And it's like, okay, that's cool. Maybe I could probably do something that's more exciting, right? Because when you start learning something, you kind of like want to find something that kind of like makes you excited for it, right? Because otherwise, it's like, what's the point of learning all of this? Like, is there any point? Um, and then I started to look at a bunch of tutorial videos that like not just tutorial videos, but also creating like like a clone of like an app, like a previous app, like Netflix or Uber, right, or whatnot. So I started to look through that. I was looking through React Native, which is a programming language that is coded for app development. And I was like looking at a bunch of, docs and like some websites and probably some YouTube channels that were just giving me introduction. Yeah, and then I was like, is this like, there's probably more than just like saying hello world or making a text box or something like that, because that's cool, but I mean, like, you can probably do more, right? And then there was like I saw a bunch of YouTube links. I don't want to specify who. I don't know if I can, but basically they were, again, not just introducing the React Native and like, the bunch of concepts that are used in React Native, but also, developing again a really nice like app that it can be also influential to you. And the thing is that when you're developing an entire app, right, you get to learn so much at a very comfortable pace for you. And it's like it's not even like a one-time thing, right? It's like over like a couple of days you kind of like develop your skills, and then it's like, okay, now I really have a firm understanding of from start to end, creating an app, all of that. And also I've created a nice beautiful app. So it just like once you finish it, you just feel really good about it. You feel like, hey, I really want to start doing this. I really want to start working on this. So that was kind of like my experience with app development. And later on, I started to do a bunch of projects, and not a bunch of projects, but like I did like a bunch of projects, and like just to get like familiarized with app development. And this will also lead into the third segment, which I'm going to start now, I guess, which is STEM advice. Um, but I just talked about how I got started with app development, how I got interested in it. I guess what was my hook, like kind of getting me in, and maybe like trying to figure out like, is this the right thing for me? Am I really interested in doing this? Obviously, as you know that someone is really interested in something if they spend a lot of time on it, especially their free time on it, right? Um, and maybe you want to like, if you are struggling to find something that you really want to do, so one thing is obviously start exploring, right? You want to see like what more can you do, right? Like let's say you are really good at coding Java, and you created a bunch of games in Java. That's really cool. That's a lot of cool skills to have. And then maybe you're thinking, is this what I want to do? Maybe Java has a bunch of bugs or something like that, or maybe just Java is too time consuming because there's like a lot of syntax you have to write and it's just annoying. Whatever the case, you want to probably do something else, or maybe you want to stick to Java, but it's like, what can I do with Java? Like, or what can I really do? Start exploring. Like literally, you all you have to do is go to Google, right? Search up, you know, a bunch, not just Java tutorial, but like just like what can you do with Java, right? And maybe to do more than games. Maybe like actually uh, create something influential or something with Java, or maybe like you're actually starting from square one and you want to go to STEM, or you want to go to tech or coding, and you do not know exactly what you do, where to start. You should start exploring and see what you like to do and what you do. Okay, especially if you like middle school or entering high school, that's still fine. All right, what you can do is let's say it's like you want to start doing app development. That's fine. Start up with app development, right? There's a lot of it's not like there's no prerequisites for app development. You can just go ahead and start. You can look at YouTube, find like a bunch of links, and then spend some time on it, like going to videos, developing the app, understanding it, and see if you really enjoy it. Like, does it sound like you want to like spend some time on this thing? Like, do you really want to um like, it's not just about learning, but also like, do you want to like spend some time like in the future, right? Do you want to um like, if instead of like playing video games and all that, maybe you could spend some you would prefer spending time on doing this instead of playing video games, right? So that's kind of like how you're recognizing. That's kind of like how you can start off. And I think that once you get some experience, once you get play around with it, spend some time with it, you may or may not start to like it. If you start to like it, if you get excited to like try something new, maybe after like going through a tutorial, it's like, hey, maybe I can do this. with Python, or this with the website development. Then it's like, yes, I know you are very interested. You are. It's probably a good indication that you're interested, because then it's just gonna grow. It's just gonna grow from there on, and you're gonna be you're gonna learn a lot too. You're not just It's just not like you're creating an app. You're also gonna learn a lot, right? You won't know everything at first glance. You'll be kind of like going here and there, like finding some tutorials on like how to do this, how to develop this. Maybe use ChatGPT. I don't know. And that's all fine. I mean, anyways, if ChatGPT is going to be like an expert coder in the future, might as well get trained for that. But yeah, just like basically, what you can do is when you go to like YouTube, you can like search up some like code with me type of tutorials where they're kind of like a live stream, or like a 4 hour long video. I know 4 hours kind of sounds intimidating. Like, I'm not gonna spend 4 hours, and you don't have to. I mean, I didn't spend 4 hours doing coding. It's just that the thing is that if you actually are willing to spend the 4 hours, that also shows a good. It also is a good indication that you're interested in doing that, because you're willing to spend the time, you're willing to spend the effort on something, and it kind of shows that like, hey, this is probably what I want to do in the future. Like, because in the future, if you want to do, like for example, website dev, right? You're not gonna spend like just 4 hours. You're gonna spend way more hours than that. And if you're willing to put enough work to spend just 4 hours in it, probably in the future, and again, your knowledge is gonna grow and grow. Your interest is gonna grow and grow. Um, in the future, you're gonna spend like 10 hours in it, and you'll feel happy about it. You feel like, I'm great. I love spending 10 hours on this. It's just what I like to do. It's what I love to do. So keep exploring. If you have any questions, just let me know. If you're watching this on YouTube or whatever, you can like list it down in the comments. But yeah, hopefully I have kind of like cleared a bunch of stuff, and in the future, if you want me to talk about some advice, or maybe if you want to join a podcast with me as a guest speaker, or maybe you want to talk about like a news article that you found, and I could probably explore and give my opinion and talk about it. Just let me know too. You can like email me. Probably like in this description of like of the podcast. Hopefully like everywhere. I think YouTube there'll be like a description. And for Spotify, I'm not sure. For other platforms, I'm not sure, but there'll probably be like a little email there, and I'll just be, you can like email me saying what you want to do, what you want me to talk about, if you want to join the podcast and whatnot. So yeah, this is the first podcast. Hopefully, it's somewhat influential. It's not like the best I can do, but hopefully I can get better at this, and hopefully we'll try to make something out of it. So yeah, thank you for listening, and have a good day.